I'm Bryon Robbins with Plastic Pallet Pros, and today I'm joined with Sam Dunham. He is our Director of Operations, and we've been off to a very busy year so far this year. It's hard to believe we're halfway through February, but we are on target to be able to help people with recycling and with plastic pallets. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the market today.
Well, I tell you what, it's been, like you said, a really busy start to the year. And it just seems like more and more companies are reaching out to us to help them achieve their sustainability and environmental goals. It seems to be a really big driver. I mean, it was before, but it's growing. I mean, there's just more and more interest in that and more companies trying to pursue that.
Yeah, you have a lot of companies such as Costco, who's really trying to go plastic. What they have not been able to as of yet. There are a number of companies out there who are wanting that business, but it's an awful big endeavor for them to be able to go plastic. And CHEP tried and then finally just gave up on that. But you're finding the big companies wanting to go plastic and then down to the smaller companies. What are some of the reasons why we're seeing that push right now before the year 2030?
I'd say one company I talked to just this week, it's a large heavy equipment manufacturer, for example. All of these companies have set goals that they need to achieve by 2030, and they're looking for vehicles and ways to help them achieve that. And it's carbon reduction, circular economy, where they're looking for recyclable options. And a lot of them are looking at reusable packaging as a way to help accomplish that, because the traditional shipping on a pallet, send it and forget it, thought process is changing a little bit. So finding companies looking at plastic pallets and bins, because that is a way for them to have a program, or it's one of many different ways they're helping to achieve that goal, but it is a way that they're seeing as an opportunity to help achieve some of those sustainability goals.
Yeah, you have a lot of companies that by the year 2050, they're hoping to be 100% no carbon and no carbon footprint whatsoever. And by year 2030, a lot of them are shooting for the 50% mark is what they're shooting for. And so we're finding more and more companies that are switching to plastic, that are looking at alternative methods of, going away from the wood pallet, but wood is still growing. Everybody out there that's selling wood pallets doesn't have to worry about anything. It's still growing at a rapid pace also. But we see this year 2030 kind of looming, more and more people getting serious about that. But one of the things we're finding at Plastic Pallet Pros is this is increasing the number of used plastic pallets on the market.
Absolutely. And that's a great way. That's even a step further than a new plastic pallet in regards to a sustainable solution. And we are sourcing those products and developing a really good inventory and selection of used plastic pallet options. And that's one of the ways we can really serve our customers well is in that avenue. That's a goal of Plastic Pallet Pros, is to be the largest used plastic pallet and bin provider in the country. So that helps our companies that we're working with, because not only can we give them new options of a plastic pallet made with recycled plastic, we can also supply a used option. And the longer that pallet is in circulation, the better it is for everybody.
Yeah, we're super excited about the supply of used pallets we have and the used bins that we have. I would have to say our CFO is not nearly as excited as we are about growing our inventory of used plastic pallets.
I've been buying a lot of pallets, and I've heard from a couple of times saying, "Hey, how many pallets are you going to buy?" I'm going to buy a lot of pallets. So, and we're continuing to build that inventory, and the purpose for that is we want to serve our customers and serve them well. And I cannot do that if I don't have the product. So we're willing as a company to invest in that, because we see that as such a great service and a great option for our customers.
So when you have a company out there, maybe it's a mid-sized company to a large company that's looking at making the switch to plastic pallets, is this going to be an increase in cost to them, or are they going to be able to do this for the same cost that they're currently using wood pallets?
But it's a really good question, and it's the answer varies for each company, and that's one reason why they need to reach out and let us talk to them, because we have the expertise and the ability to kind of really look at their program and how we can build the best program. The long answer on that, I guess, is that yes, we can do it for less cost overall in most cases, and that's different than what most people's perception is, simply because a plastic pallet or a collapsible bin does cost more than a wood pallet on a per unit basis. It's more expensive. So the initial thought is, well, this is going to cost us a lot of money. But the part that helps reduce the cost for the company and makes it a more sustainable option is the durability of the plastic. So that's a big driver from the sustainability standpoint. Companies are looking to go to reusable packaging and move away from the one-time ship, one-time use approach. When you do that, and a plastic pallet can last 40 times longer than a wood pallet, you have to think in terms of what's my cost per trip. That's not what's my cost per pallet. It's a completely different number. And when you start doing the math on that, it starts becoming really clear that plastic can be a very cost-effective option, not just a more environmentally friendly or sustainable option, but actually just a smart business decision from a cost perspective.
Yeah, you and I have been in some companies together where we've seen plastic pallets that were over 10 years old that were still holding up and serving well. I know we've been in some situations where we have sold people plastic pallets and we've told them that, there's going to be damage with fork trucks, and you're going to have some replacement. And then 2 years later, they're still saying, we don't need to order any plastic pallets yet. They're holding up really well.
Sure. From a business model standpoint, people might question, what's the long-term game for Plastic Pallet Pros in that? Because frankly, when I sell people pallets and it's a good pallet, it's going to last them a long time, and I'm probably not going to sell them a lot more. That's just the reality of it. That's okay, because we're helping them achieve their goals, and we're helping provide a more sustainable goal for the environment. But yes, I mean, that is something that we are finding, is that these pallets just last so long. And when you can get, and the part of that people don't sometimes quantify, it isn't just that return on investment cost per trip, is how many fewer times are you receiving a load of pallets? How many fewer times is a load of pallets being shipped? The pallets weigh less, so the transportation cost is less, the fuel usage is less, the CO2 emissions are less. And the reality is their people are dealing with it less. You're spending less time dealing with pallets and more time taking care of your customers, which ultimately benefits everybody.
Yeah, and we're at a time in history in the United States where manufacturing is coming back. I mentioned this last time on our podcast. Manufacturing is coming back at a rapid pace. And everybody is concerned with the environment as they're bringing manufacturing back in, which is really good because we don't have to worry about what's going to happen with our rivers, what's going to happen with our air quality as we're bringing back to manufacturing. And so you see this real push because right now there's a lot of people concerned. We were just out at a show in Las Vegas this last week. They're talking about areas where they're having trouble with water. We were just in Scottsdale, Arizona. And there was areas there where they're conserving water. There hasn't been the rain that they've needed. You have stronger storms taking place. And internationally, around the world, you're seeing a focus on how can we help the environment? How can we make sure that we're being good stewards of the earth that we've been entrusted with? And we're helping to do our part and helping companies do their part. And so I'm really excited about where we're going as a company and making sure that those plastic pallets never end up in a landfill. And we want to make sure that we're able to, if we can resell them, which is the best use of them, to be able to resell them as they are. But if we're not able to, if they're broke or if they're just a size that's no longer being used, then what's the next option for that pallet?
Well, and that's one of the things that differentiates Plastic Pallet Pros from a lot of folks out there is we're going to look at the whole picture. So one of the things that we provide our customers is a buyback option. So not only are we going to provide a pallet made with recycled plastic, you're going to be able to use that pallet much longer than wood. But when it does get to that point that it's no longer serviceable, we're going to buy that pallet back from you. And we're going to use that pallet just to make more pallets. It's going to be reground and go right back into the production of more plastic pallets. So essentially that pallet can just be recycled over and over and over again and continue to stay in the stream. So not only does it last so much longer in the supply chain and last so much longer for that company, when it does finally reach its end of life, it just goes back and becomes a pallet again. And that is that circular economy that most companies are looking for to help them meet those goals. And we've even worked with some companies in regards to taking their plastic waste, purge that they actually produce in production of the product that they're making, bringing that material in and using that material to make plastic pallets. So there's a lot of different things. Plastic used to be kind of, when people heard plastic, they did not think sustainable or environmental. It was kind of the opposite of that. But plastic doesn't contribute to deforestation. It can be recycled for so long. We're even working with companies to make pallets out of recycled plastic out of the rivers and trash. So plastic pallet allows for a stream where all of that waste plastic can go back into a pallet and then be recycled over and over and over again and stay in use longer. And it just helps to limit the amount. Most wood ends up in a landfill anyway. And wood can't, if a board is too short, it's too short. You can't stretch it. We've often said that in the wood industry. If I had a wood stretcher, that'd be great. But I don't. So where does it end up? It ends up in the landfill. And so it's not a renewable resource. It is a limited resource. And plastic has now become the way to create a more sustainable solution.
Yeah, and we're super excited to be able to work with small companies, mid-sized companies, and large companies. There are more people that are making and getting ready to start production of plastic pallets. So we are able to handle a situation like Costco or a major manufacturer in the United States, looking at going to plastic. We are going to be able to handle those large customers here in the very near future.
Yes.
And even now, right now you got to roll it out a little bit slower. If it's a large manufacturer that's going to be looking at going to plastic, but we're going to get to the point where we're going to be able to roll that out quicker as we're bringing more people into the United States that are able to manufacture those plastic pallets. And so real excited about what we're able to do to help companies and being able to help the environment. How do we get a hold of Plastic Pallet Pros?
Well, the easiest way is just go to our website. On the website, you can go to the Contact Us page. You'll be able to reach out there. You can chat with a pro immediately. So with Plastic Pallet Pros, you're actually going to get an answer, and somebody's going to respond right then and there. Or you can give us a call, and the phone number is right there on our website. So yeah, you can go to our website, you can email us, contact us, chat with us, all of that. We're easy to find, plasticpalletpros.com.
Hey, we appreciate you joining us today. And if you are looking at how you would be able to use plastic pallets at your facility, we'd be more than happy to come out and meet with you also and to get a first-hand look at what you're currently doing, what you're currently using, and then be able to offer our help in making that decision to go to plastic pallets. Thank you again for joining us today.